right. Good morning, everyone. This is the All About Nothing podcast kind of daily show for a Thursday morning. Thanks, Bill. I am Barrett, host of the All About Nothing podcast with Zach King. You can find me on social media at Barrett Gruber. This is Bill Kimler, host of Black, White, and Blue in the South with Dr. Jamil Brooks. You can find him across all of social media at Political Bill SC.
Good morning, Barrett.
Good morning. You look wide-eyed and bushy-tailed. No, I haven't seen your ass. I feel like that's.
I'm wide-assed and bushy-eyed.
There it is. So you decided to hit the snooze button this morning, or just to drop.
It was tough. First time in a long time where the body would not adhere to the alarm clock. So
how long?
I said, "F it." Closed my eyes back and slept another 20 minutes. Felt great.
How long is your snooze? Like if you hit snooze, how long is it?
No, I don't have a snooze.
Oh, you don't have a snooze.
I reset the alarm to a new time.
Oh, that's effort, but I get but I appreciate the intent.
Okay.
My snooze button is if I hit the snooze button, it's 9 minutes. Like it's I don't know why it's not 10. And I think it's something I can ultimately set, but like 9 seems to be the standard for snooze. You had a difficult time, or you made a decision this morning that you weren't going to get up at your normal time. Your eyes wouldn't open. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, the alarm went off at 4:45. Normally I roll my way into the shower, get freshened up, then go make the coffee, do some chores, and then head up here to record, 5:30 for you. For us. Sorry, I'm not your slave. It's 5:30 for us.
Okay.
But today that alarm went off at 4:45 and my body said, F it, you're not doing this. You're not getting up at 4:45. And so set it for another 20 minutes, fell right back asleep. And something about my brain and body needed those 20 minutes. And here I am, wide-assed and bushy-eyed.
I had, so Tuesday night we have bowling league. And and to give a little context to it, the bowling alley that we bowl at recently changed ownership or whatever. They got bought out. And so they changed out everything, including the shoes. The shoes that they had previously, I don't have my own shoes. They fell apart years ago. But the shoes that they have now are extremely stiff. And I have developed in my left foot plantar fasciitis, which is basically a pain around the ankle, but because it's extending all the way up to behind my knees, my calf. So I'm having to.
Right, to be honest, I'm falling back asleep hearing about your plantar fasciitis. Okay. So the snooze button's about to come back.
Tuesday night was a rough night bowling. I didn't bowl very well. I think I rolled like a 140 or something. But I went home extremely exhausted, went to bed, and around 12:30, the dog, for some reason, the door was closed. My dog wanted to get out of the car, get out of the door, out of the bedroom, and so I opened the door. I got up, opened the door, went back to sleep. Was not wearing my watch, which is where my alarm usually triggers from because it just vibrates and wakes me up. And then my phone didn't trigger, so 4:30. Came through and
was this yesterday or today?
This was yesterday.
Okay.
So slept right through it because nothing triggered. And then 6 o'clock rolled around immediately. I don't know what happened, but opened my eyes right at 6 o'clock and I was like, shit. I overslept by an hour and a half. But I woke up alert. Like it must have been that my body just needed that sleep. That rest time, because I normally go to bed around 9:30, almost 10, and get up somewhere around 4:15, 4:30, because I'll do a regular 30 minutes on the rowing machine downstairs, or I'll walk the neighborhood or something like that, and it's about 3 miles around the neighborhood, so that is my usual routine. But yesterday was just not it. I don't know. I had a very difficult time sleeping the night before. I think on Tuesday morning, I was operating on something like 3.5 hours of sleep.
You come across as someone who is a deep snorer when you're asleep. So do I have that correct? Are you wearing the masks, the CPAP stuff?
No, I've never had a sleep study. I did at one time. It was pretty much certain that I had sleep apnea. But then I lost about 60 pounds, and my snoring has drastically improved. Now, camping with friends, I have been told on multiple occasions that I sound like a bear, not like a loud bear, but I sound like there's a
A
bear in the
hibernating
camp.
bear?
Yeah, just a bear, just a
Right.
that low rumble or whatever.
The sound the T-Rex makes when he's just around the corner from the kids who are hiding.
Yeah, yeah,
That low
exactly,
growl.
exactly.
Well,
It's not it's not
I need to be
threatening.
fully refreshed because I'm hitting a long trip starting tomorrow morning.
Yeah, this is
I've
your
got
Arkansas weekend, right?
11-hour drive to Arkansas to explore some family roots. So we'll see what happens.
That is now the new vehicle you have, is it a hybrid, or is it
Yeah,
just
the
okay?
Camry is a hybrid, so I'm going to be
Okay.
getting. And I've driven it up to Albany, New York, and back, and
Yeah.
it was a beautiful experience.
I
Smooth ride, 855 miles a gallon.
That's great.
Only had to stop like every 8 hours. I mean, it was wonderful.
That's great. I love that for you. I think that if I were to get a new vehicle, which I am desperately trying not to, especially in this economy, I would probably wind up looking for a hybrid over an electric. I just don't have the confidence in the electric vehicles yet. It's nothing against anyone
We're close. I mean, I
specifically.
think I saw an article where Chevy has done a test on their new battery electric car, whatever it was, where they were getting 1,100 miles on a charge.
Wow,
I mean,
that's
they
incredible.
broke records on how far they could get on a single charge. So we're getting there. It's just a matter of time and some more engineering scientific breakthroughs, but we're just about there to crack that nut.
I tell you what, if I could get a hold of one fuel cell vehicle, if I see it pop up on Market Value or Facebook Marketplace or whatever, I might would be in favor of a fuel cell, because we have a fuel cell station here in Columbia. We have one, and to me, fuel cell is the way to go. Like I mean, you're basically just taking hydrogen and turning it into
Yeah.
water.
From a legislative standpoint, it's an interesting puzzle to crack because a lot of the money that went into road infrastructure, repair, et cetera, came from a gas sales tax.
Yeah.
And now, as people like me on our hybrids and my gas purchases are lower than ever, or electrics that are getting, amazing charges and amazing miles, that revenue is going to disappear within our lifetimes.
Yeah.
And so you have to replace it. And so, when I look at, hey, what about a surcharge on an electric vehicle or something along those lines to fund the roads? That's what you have to look at it as, not as a penalty for owning an EV, but as a citizen of the community in which you live. How are you contributing to the infrastructure?
Well, and right now it is a penalty on electric vehicle drivers, because in South Carolina there is an additional charge added to your tax payment.
Is there?
Because even for my motorcycle, I pay an extra $37 a year, because I don't because they're not collecting that money in taxes from me filling up at the gas station.
Right. They say that South Carolina is very attractive to people because of low property taxes, which is true.
Yep.
The property tax on my house was certainly less than what I was paying in property taxes in upstate New York before I moved here.
Yeah.
But, when you're getting services, it's being paid for somehow.
Yeah.
And one thing that you don't realize is that, well, what you get taxed or don't get taxed in one area, you are getting taxed or charged in another. The annual car tax that we pay is outlandish here in South Carolina. I mean,
sure.
Up in New York, it was like $60 a year for a car inspection. That was it. You got your sticker, you're good to go. Here, it's $500-600. It could be, especially if you have a new car.
Yeah.
Your annual car tax is through the roof.
Yeah.
Sales tax is higher here than it is in other states, because they said, hey, we're going to lower your property taxes, but we'll make up for it in sales taxes. I mean, the squeeze is there. The toothpaste has to go somewhere when you squeeze the tube. It just goes somewhere else. So that's what people don't realize.
Yeah. It's I for my Element being more than 20 years old now, I pay about $30 a year for taxes.
Yeah.
For my electric motorcycle, I think it's like 120. Because it's only
for my Camry, I just got my first car tax, and it was 600 something. I mean, I was like, Well, I just scraped every penny I had out of my coin jar to pay for this car, and now here's the state coming to rip me a new one right around the corner.
It's insane. And one of the things that Governor McMaster's had said for years and years and years, that he wanted South Carolina to be like Florida, like Pennsylvania, where there is no property tax, that South Carolinians wouldn't have to pay property tax. And in the so far 9 years that he has been governor, not one time in his governorship have I seen him go before the state house, whether the Senate or the House of Representatives. I have not seen him once go before them and tell them that he wants a bill on his desk eliminating property tax in South Carolina. Actually, I don't think he's gone before the House or the Senate in this state to ask for legislation at all. I can't think of a single bill that actually has been initiated by the governorship.
Right.
Interesting. For a governor who touts himself.
Well, the governor has initiated some things, but they're not really sexy stuff. Like he'll call special legislation in the summer to work on an issue. He did that with the abortion bill a couple of years back. Did it again with judicial selection processes. Sure. I mean, nothing that affects you or me.
Right. But that was.
Although I will say the abortion ban affects half the state. If not more.
Oh, more of the state. Yeah. But,
hey, I have to issue an apology before we get too deep.
Oh.
Because one of your video clips of our show that you had made, and you make maybe 2-3 clips out of every one of our sessions. Maybe you put it out there. We got a comment underneath one of them on Instagram yesterday, and it was like a 3-month-old video, right? But it was from somebody we know.
Oh.
Corrected me in the clip that you put me in there. So I'll give you the context. It was back when Senate candidate Lee Johnson decided to suspend his campaign when he saw the writing on the wall, right?
Okay, more recently.
And we had read
3 months, yeah.
It feels like it was forever ago. It feels like it was back in the 90s, right? We talked about that. It's 5:45 in the effing morning, man.
Yeah.
Don't correct me on those minutia. Anyhow, he had dropped out, and we were reading the article about his campaign fundraising, and he says, "Look, I was only able to raise, I think he raised like 60,000, 30,000. Yeah. I mean, it was a for a Senate campaign, it wasn't where he wanted it to be, and he had also put in, I think, $500,000 of his own money into the pot.
Yeah,
and we were speculating for a guy that had been going county to county to meet with people. Where did you spend that money? Like where did it go? And I had speculated out loud, because we're just riffing here, and we're just trying to say stuff and occupy 30 minutes before we can go back to bed. Speculated that he had been flying around the state, right? And jet setting. He was going from Greenwood to Florence, in the same morning, and you can only do that, through planes. So she saw that clip. Oh no, I say she. Let me tell you who she was.
Okay.
She would be Shauna Johnson, Lee Johnson's wife.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So now I'm in trouble with the missus. And I love Shauna. I've told you before, I was excited for Lee's candidacy because of Shauna, because I'd met her on the campaign trail. I'd seen her campaign. She had put out some quality material. She was a badass nurse. She ran a great campaign, wasn't successful as many of us Democrats weren't. But so I was excited, this is a good family. This is good stock, good partnership. But she corrected, saying that, yes, Lee did fly from place to place, but he owns his own plane. He is his own pilot. He's got, an old plane, Piper or whatever. I don't know the different models of planes. For me, it's like paper airplane and real airplane. Those are the two models that I'm aware of. But she was saying that no, he was basically doing his own thing. So it wasn't like he was hiring private jets.
Yeah.
And, on Trump Air Force One, sipping cocktails as he's going from county to county. That was not the case at all. And nor did I intend for that to be. But I do know, because I worked for a private company that had its own plane, and I knew the pilot, and I knew the team. It's expensive to have your own plane. Even if you own it outright, you still have hangar fees. You've got fuel fees. You've got, all sorts of things you have to do to maintain it. But no, it certainly wasn't a luxury lifestyle. So I'll issue that correction should the 3 listeners that saw that video get the wrong impression.
Oh, was that what the stat was on that one?
I can't see the stats. I don't know how many people viewed it.
It might have gotten more views on TikTok. But and 2 things on that. While I recognize, and I did see the comment from Shauna, which appreciate she left a comment, because if anything, it helps to boost it in the vision as far as viewability by people. It'll pop up for more people. But 2 things on that. Well, first one being that regardless of owning your own plane, it is expensive. I have friends that are extremely well off, that are close to the 7-digit mark when it comes to their income. 2 or 3 of them actually have their pilot's license, but still don't own their own plane. They have what almost
it's like a timeshare,
yeah,
right?
That's what it is. They basically timeshare. So like 1 month out of the year, either they get it every other weekend, or they get it every 3rd weekend or every 4th weekend. Like they're sharing it.
Child custody.
Exactly. It's they have custody of it that weekend, and but they're also limited to the amount of flying that they can do with it. So they would fly in from Atlanta to come visit me. They'd fly their plane in, and then the first thing we'd do was I'd be like, all right, let's go back up, and we'd fly around Columbia in their little 4-passenger Cessna or whatever. So it is still expensive.
Boy, I feel like I'm letting you down as a friend. You know, when I come by, I can just drive you around in my Camry. I can't take you up in the sky. So I feel like I'm letting you down. I make 7 figures if you include the 2 decimal points. Yeah. But I still don't afford. Oh, wow. So I'm with a rich friend.
2 decimal points. You have to add 2 decimal points. Look, we already talked about at what point your Social Security stops collecting on yours. It doesn't do that on mine. But the second thing about owning a plane is it is actually, if for those of people that do own their own plane, it is a decent investment, because planes do have, as long as they're in good shape and they're well maintained and everything like that, they do have good resale value. So you can
speaking
own
of resale value, my daughter is looking at a house. She's 29. She's looking to buy houses now. Then she's like, oh my gosh, I mean, I can get this shack and it's $600,000, you know. Yeah, it's tough right now. But we were looking at the house that I last sold. So I put my house in New York for sale. I sold it back in 2016, I'll say.
Okay.
And I know what I sold it for. And look at what it is listed for now. Now, it's not up on sale, so this is just like a Zillow guess.
Yeah.
You know what the resale value is? It has increased by 60% in value in less than 10 years.
I believe it.
I could be sitting on a nest of cash right now if I had just kept that house and resold it today.
It is absolutely one of the markers as far as the housing crisis that we are in.
And the house didn't get any better. The house wasn't a phenomenal mansion by any stretch. So it just, as it sits there, it is now worth 60% more for no reason.
How old were you when you bought your first house?
Oh, I was 24.
Okay. I was 22.
With the help of a father-in-law who helped with the down payment. Okay. But the house was like 69 grand. I mean, it was, and it was a 3-bedroom, 3-story or two floor house with a basement that was finished. So it was a fine starter house. So we made our mortgage payments. I think by now the ex-wife, you know, it's her house and I'm sure it's all paid off by now. But yeah, that same house today, couldn't afford it.
Yeah. I was 22, 21 years old when I built literally this house. And it was a builder. So,
wow.
But I was working for the company you work for now. And at that time I was probably putting in, I was paid hourly, and I was probably making anywhere between 70 and 80 hours a week in overtime. And I used that as part of the collateral and whatnot. That was 22 years old, making more than 100 grand a year. I mean, now I only worked for that company for an additional year after that and watched my salary basically get cut in a fifth to go work somewhere else. When I bought this house, I look back at 2008 and say, the reality of it is that I was probably one of those people back then that shouldn't have been sold a house that caused the crisis in 2008. Fortunately, I maintained a level of stability that I passed through that, but I shouldn't have been able to afford a house at that age. I should have continued renting probably, but
so here's my daughter, newly married. Her husband works in the medical management, healthcare industry. He's kind of in the management side of things, executive. Yeah. She's working as a full-time nurse at a hospital, makes decent money there, and they can't afford to buy a house.
That is crazy.
And I don't know necessarily why there is a spike aside from foreign purchase of housing.
Yes.
Which is 100%. Insane. I mean, we're watching Russia, we're watching China, we're watching, all these other foreign investors pouring money into private property in the United States. And again, for them, it's investment. They don't need the rent. They don't need they just need the property. And I think that's causing a lot of the artificial inflation.
So I saw a statistic, and it was a couple weeks ago, but I saw a statistic that said that foreign investment in private property, private home ownership in the United States is about 64%. That's better than half of the homes and apartment buildings and whatnot. And it's not just about the investment. The article was definitely slanted against this foreign purchasing, and if I could find it again, I'll find it. But they're basically they believe that it's a manipulation, that foreign manipulation into private property here in the United States, and it's going basically unseen by the news media, or it's being ignored.
No, I don't want to be xenophobic. I mean, I all for foreign investment in businesses.
Sure,
absolutely. And so we are a global society. We're investing in other nations. It's that private property purchasing.
Yeah.
That to me is like, wow, that's because what you're seeing is that you've got the wealthiest in the United States securing a lot of property. Okay, that's bad enough. But now when you're talking about foreign investors, now you're talking about the wealthiest in China, the wealthiest in other nations purchasing. So that's a lot of wealthy people that are securing private property. And we're not getting more land in the United States. I mean, unless Trump decides to cut down Yosemite National Park and turn that into housing units.
Well, he's making plans for that anyway, but
I know. So it's really, I think there's something that needs to be looked at there.
Yeah, no, like I said, the article is definitely a little conspiratorially. That's not a word, but
I think you got it right there. Yeah,
it tended toward the conspiracy theory, but based on the numbers that it was providing, which I did not fact check, it would give a sense of there being the intent of foreign manipulation into the property market here in the United States, specifically the property market that affects you and me. I don't own any apartment buildings. I don't own any hotels. Those sorts of things are well outside of my grasp. But home ownership is one of those things that is available to, poor, middle class, whatever. Like it was. My house is, you said 60% in 10 years. According to Zillow, my house has gone up almost 150% in the last 10 years. Now,
good, because you're going to need to remortgage or secure a second mortgage in your home to finance your campaign.
Well,
how's candidate Gruber's campaign going?
Yeah, I have written down a fairly a good representation of the pros and cons. And I have had counsel with several people that I think the decision has been made. I will just say that it is not in the best interest of the party, and it is not in the best interest of me to be the representative. But I absolutely will do everything I can. I will give all 100% available to whoever it is that they do choose.
All right. So before you make that final decision, let me ask you a couple of questions.
Sure.
One, is there any dash cam video of you running naked in the streets, shouting that you are God and Superman and yelling racist slurs? Are there any videos of that exist?
No. No.
Okay. So in fact, that was the only qualifying question.
Yeah.
That was it. You're qualified.
Yeah.
And then second, the campaign you run can be just a simple bumper sticker.
Sure.
I am not a pedophile.
Yep. That's
right. That's it. That's all you need. Because if you start the narrative that way, if that is your only message, because there's already a Republican opponent who's announced for that seat.
Yeah.
And he's jumped in. I forget the guy's name, but there's already one out there ready to swoop in.
Yep.
It would force that campaign to address your slogan.
Right.
Like he would have to, because by inference, when you make that your only sign, if that is your billboard, if that is your bumper sticker, if that is your yard sign, Gruber, not a pedophile. Well, maybe I got to rethink that, because now it sounds like you're being defensive.
Yeah.
But anyhow, I think there's a message there where you can just latch on and make the other guy associate with that predecessor.
Yeah.
Whether he deserves it or not, you can still hang it on him and that party.
Yeah. No, you're correct. It would be fun. Because just to be a thorn was one of the pros. That was,
and as I told you again, had you run last time against RJ May, you would be sitting in the House right now.
You think so?
Because when those accusations came, that was still during campaign season.
Yeah.
So it could have been incumbent upon the challenger to make that the focus of the campaign and tear him out.
Yeah.
I think there's something there that you could have pushed him out during that because he had no opposition, because there was no challenger.
Well, the only problem with that is he's still like he was truly, I mean, he got 75-80% of the vote, and that was with no candidates running against him.
Right.
That there were groups of write-ins that occurred during that election.
Write-ins don't count.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, you can't organize a write-in. But
had there been a candidate who was daily pounding that one message while his house was being raided of electronic equipment, I truly think he could have been ousted.
So of his 80%, I think the statistic that I pulled was that 70% of his votes, so about 6,000 of his votes, came from just pulling the party ticket.
Right, but let's say that you had a Dem candidate there, and so just by the nature of a normal race, let's say it would have been 60-40, maybe, or 65-35, right?
Yeah.
So now you have to pull 20 back, or just 15 back. You just have to pull 15% back. Yeah. So imagine a candidate who was going door to door with one message. Hey, this guy had his house raided for electronics equipment by the feds. Sure. There's only one reason why that's done. Now, I appreciate you pull the R lever. I need to make you aware that this one R is being investigated for child pornography. And if that was the door-to-door message, you could have hit that many doors easily in the time remaining in that election and either suppressed his vote or flipped it.
Yeah.
Had somebody been in that race, I wish I had that happen in my campaigns. I would be sitting in the House right now.
I was gonna say, just wait, because McCready has gotten himself in enough hot water. I think that there's the potential that a candidate that runs against him will likely.
Well, I hear he will be primaried.
And
I've got some secret info that he will be primaried in June, which is the first primary to happen against a sitting incumbent in this area in forever.
Yeah, well,
at least for the House.
I'll just say that the time constraints available for an actual so running fine, winning and actually sitting in session is more difficult.
That's the big one.
And that's the part that unfortunately, being a single income with a family of 5 is one of those constraints. To be a lawmaker,
what you need to do is reduce that family of 5 down to just you. If you could do that, then you don't have that constraint.
You
So
know
there's
what?
a solution to everything, Barrett.
My wife would potentially be in favor of that. I'm
She's
sure
like,
I'm going to get.
don't threaten me with a good
I
time.
was gonna say, I'm sure that I can get a text message at any moment because she's probably watching, and she would immediately say, "Absolutely, where do I sign the papers?" But no, in truth, the being being a lawmaker in South Carolina or potentially any state, that you have to have either generational wealth, you have to either own your own business, or be part of some law firm that can potentially sidebar you until your session is over, because then you're probably working in their interest in the House. There are so many little caveats for a lot of the lawmakers down there. They're over the age of 65, which means that they're retired, so they don't have day jobs that they have to produce for. Heather Bauer is absolutely Jermaine Johnson. These are individuals that that I look at and being like, they crossed that threshold. They figured out how to get past it, because Heather was single up until this past June. So didn't have any children up until coming up here in the next couple months. So their abilities to have an office and full-time jobs, and still be able to do the office job. Now, I guess, what is Dr. Jermaine Johnson's full-time job? Is he a lawyer? What does he do?
No, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, either
but
way.
I don't believe he's a lawyer. I don't think that's the case,
Okay.
but could be wrong.
But they have that ability, or they found that ability. And my profession is just looking at numbers. I would love to be a thorn. I absolutely would. I would wear that button, and I would crap on every Republican figuratively that I could, and I would stand up there and speak as long as I could. I would ask questions about why is South Carolina in the state we're in, and
I think that type of reasoning will not work. I've tried that.
Sure.
I mean, that type of, hey, here's some facts, and then look who's in charge now. That connection is not, that message does not land as common sense it is to you and I. Hey, it's 6:02. Let's get to the full list of topics you wrote down.
Oh, the full.
I'm kidding.
Well, I will say I do need to end it on this. Want to remind everybody, SOULHAUS Sessions with Priest Jacobs coming up August 20th at the USC Koger Center. That is literally next Wednesday, featuring Nikky, who is author, columnist, activist, also artwork featured by Lopez, and music cultivated by Priest Jacobs. That is going to be, again, next Wednesday at the USC Koger Center, August 20th. Doors open at 5 o'clock. Tickets available at Eventbrite, or you can check the show notes or follow Preach at Preach Jacobs on Instagram.
How exciting!
There. Yeah, it's gonna be a good program. It's going to be his first recording also for his new podcast, SOULHAUS Sessions with Preach Jacobs.
Is that part of Big Media?
Part of Big Media, yes, it is.
Wow, like 3 new podcasts this year alone.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't think about that. We've doubled in size. What the pod is coming back.
Talk about investment and return on investment. I say invest in Big Media. There is a huge growth opportunity.
There's some definite potential there. All right. Well, that is gonna wrap it up for today's program. Thank you very much for tuning in. Thank you, Bill, for being here this morning. I know it was a good sleep-in potential day with the rain falling, but you muscled through. Good for you. All right. Catch us live every Tuesday and Thursday at 5:30 a.m. Eastern, because apparently, Bill did know how to sleep in this morning. So that's, and I slept in on Wednesday morning. So till next time, you all stay safe, be kind, and keep your hands to yourself.